Psych2Goers, welcome back to another Psych2Go video. Before we begin, we would like to thank you for all the love and support you've given us. Psych2Go's mission is to make mental health more accessible to everyone. Now, let's begin the video. Have you ever been concerned you could be a target of emotional abuse? Emotional abuse is defined as the continued and deliberate mistreatment of another person by means of psychological aggression, intimidation, coercion, control, and emotional manipulation. Emotional or verbal abuse is one of the most rampant but also most overlooked forms of abuse. Abuse in any form is never okay, and it's something no one should ever have to go through. With this video, we hope to educate and offer support if you think you might be a victim of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is often misunderstood and is also much more difficult to recognize. The negative impact it can have on your physical health, mental health, and emotional well-being should not be taken lightly. With that said, let's discuss the 8 ways emotional abuse can cause upheaval and trauma in your life. 1, it takes a long time to recover from. The emotional trauma that results from emotional abuse can be felt for much longer than any sort of physical pain. Where physical pain can eventually heal, psychological scars often stay with you for life. It's hard to forget the hurtful things someone says to you, especially if this person was near and dear to your heart. They ultimately betray your trust by humiliating you and belittling you, and that kind of emotional pain isn't easy to move on from. Sometimes even the mere memory of the event is enough to make someone re-experience that emotional type of hurt all over again. 2, most people don't understand what you've been through. Emotional abuse can be hard to understand and is sometimes a difficult concept to grasp. Many people remain ignorant of the way it can negatively affect your life, and others tend to be much less sympathetic towards emotional abuse victims than they are towards physical abuse victims. Emotional suffering is personal, and it's not something other people can see on the surface. People are more likely to intervene and help you when you're being physically threatened than they are when they see you being verbally and emotionally assaulted. 3, it gives you a negative outlook on life. If you've ever fallen victim to emotional abuse, especially at a young age, it can do a lot to shape the way you view the world and those around you. Oftentimes, you tend to form a negative perspective on life and struggle with constant feelings of loneliness, emptiness, and hopelessness as you get older. If you were ever ignored, rejected, abandoned, manipulated, or isolated in any way as a child or an adolescent, it's going to leave you with a lot of emotional baggage. 4, it gives you a negative view of yourself. There's no arguing that both physical and emotional abuse can have very damaging and dangerous effects on a person. But while the former robs you of your sense of safety and security, the latter has a way of messing with your head and tearing down your self-esteem. Emotional abuse is extremely detrimental to your sense of self-worth and self-confidence, and it can lead you to develop an inferiority complex. It's hard to feel good about yourself when you have someone in your life who is constantly criticizing you and preying on all of your insecurities. 5, it has long-term psychological effects. Do you have difficulty forming and maintaining close relationships with others and struggle with matters of intimacy and emotional security? Emotional abuse can bring out a sense of constant fear, dread, and anxiety. It can put you at a higher risk for depression and PTSD, as well as self-harm and suicidal behavior. People who have been emotionally abused can have a harder time controlling their emotions, which could lead to problems with anger management or emotional instability. 6, emotional abuse can also have physical side effects. Aside from the psychological toll emotional abuse can take on you, it can also leave you with a lot of physically painful side effects. The most common symptoms include chronic pain, chronic fatigue, muscle tension, insomnia, and other physical symptoms of stress such as low energy, nausea, chest pains, chest palpitations, and headaches. Not only that, but emotional abuse has been found to precede physical abuse in a large majority of cases. 7, it puts you at risk for mental illness. People going through emotional abuse aren't likely to reach out to others and ask them for help because they often feel that their experiences are something to be ashamed of or dismissed, or that they should deal with it on their own. But the longer the abuse goes on, the more likely you might be to resort to harmful ways of coping with your psychological and emotional distress. And this is why a lot of studies show that emotional abuse is a large contributing factor to the development of substance abuse and eating disorders in most people. And 8, it puts you at risk of becoming an abuser yourself. Being a victim of emotional abuse makes you more likely to become an abuser yourself because everyone else is so quick to dismiss emotional abuse and make it seem like it's not really a big deal. You might be tempted to take your frustrations out on others or reclaim your sense of power by emotionally abusing someone else. Studies show that an alarming majority of children who have been victims of abuse, be it physical or verbal, grow up to become abusers too later on in their lives. Do you relate to any of these points mentioned? If you were or currently are ever emotionally abused, it's important you understand that it wasn't and is not your fault. No one deserves to be treated that way. Don't hesitate to talk to a friend or reach out to a mental health care professional today and get the help that you need. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it and share this video with someone else who might benefit from it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Psych2Go videos. The references and studies used in this video are added in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.
All right. We're getting started with that was a powerful impact on emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is real. Don't let anybody tell you that it is not. Don't let anybody tell you, man, you crazy. You don't know. No. Don't listen to them. Okay, it is real, very real. And please go and get the help that is needed. If that video resonated with you, take it to heart. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our WonderCon event. Want to thank everybody for joining in. Let people know, hey, y'all need to be here, okay? If you see somebody here that you know need to be here, need to watch this, come on, tell them to come on, hop on. It's free. It's a free event, free 99, and they can get something out of this. I guarantee you they're going to get something out of it. Something is going to spark in them. Something is going to touch them. Something is going to be said to where, hey, I needed this today. It always happens, okay? It always happens. Listen, the theme for today, get ready, y'all, okay? Transcending fear and anger. Transcending fear and anger. And the three dynamic powerhouses we got today, okay, you all I got to do is bring them on and they're going to do the rest. But yeah, make sure your mind is open, your seatbelt is on, you got everything you need, your coffee, your breakfast, your snacks, whatever you need, okay? And get ready for this Power Pack event for today. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and introduce this first powerhouse and bring him on up. Jalen Hughes is the emerging king of content. This digital artist is dedicated to transforming ordinary individuals into overnight sensations. With a creative vision that knows no bounds, Jalen has the unique ability to harness the power of digital media to propel talent into the limelight. Jalen is also a published author of a trilogy series on personal growth and development, where he focuses on helping you find self love, self awareness, self confidence, and the power in why. So today he's going to be sharing his expertise in personal growth. So, everybody, I want you to give a huge welcome to Mr. Jalen Hughes and his message, Transcending to Triumph, using fear as fuel. Mr. Jalen, let's go.
Thank you, Grace. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. My name is Jalen, and this is Transcending to Triumph, using your fear as fuel. So, have you ever felt the weight of fear and anger holding you back from your dreams? Have you ever felt like you maybe not good enough, or maybe now's not the time for you to transcend into what you want to do because you're fearful of what might happen, or you might be fearful of what can happen if you don't do it? I know how that is. I know how it is moving out in uncharted waters. I know how it is being angry at myself that I was scared to take that next step, to take that dive and to plunge into those waters. But today we're going to embark on a journey together, one that transcends these emotions and unlocks that extraordinary potential that we all have within us. So again, my name is Jalen Hughes, and I'm here today not just as a speaker, but as someone who has experienced this power and is a living testament of rising above fear and anger. So let me tell you a story. When I first got out of high school, I went to go play D1 baseball at a college. I went to this college, and unfortunately, I had all the connections in the world, but for some reason, it just didn't work out. I ended up getting on the practice team, not really playing, and then I got mad at myself. I was mad. I was angry. I said, I don't know where I'm going to go next. What am I without this? And so I had a dark time my second semester at this school. The fear of not being that guy who I thought I was for the first time haunted me, and it made me angry. But how I was able to get through this is I called a friend, and he was able to get me a tryout at another college closer to home. I tried out and I became a walk-on. I used that fear and I used that anger to push me further because I knew that this no means not right now, and this is not the end of the road for me. As I go on to this school, I become a starter over some other D1 athletes coming in from Florida, from Cuba, all around the world. We end up going on to being the first championship team that my coach has ever coached since he was a player in '96, and be able to make history. And that was one of the best stories of how I was able to conquer my fear and anger and push it on and fuel me to be better. So let's talk about the fear, the dance with the fear, right? Fear can be a formidable adversary, but consider another story. Someone we all know, Michelle Obama. But before becoming the first lady, she faced imposter syndrome and the fear of not being good enough, the fear of maybe not being able to live up to her aspirations, to the woman that she knew that she was and that she could be. But you know how she used that fear? She fueled herself to overcome that by focusing on her purpose. She advocated for education. She inspired millions. She showed young Black women that they can be something in this world, regardless of anything. Fear is not a roadblock. It can be a catalyst for growth. It can push you further into the light that you were supposed to be and to give that God given gift that you have to this world. So let me leave you with a quote from Michelle. You may not always have a comfortable life, and you will not always be able to solve all of the world's problems at once, but don't underestimate the importance you can have, because history has shown us that having courage can be contagious and hope can take a life of its own. That was so powerful. So let's move on to anger. I know we've all had a time where anger took us to the next level, where maybe anger made you feel inadequate, or it made you feel like you have to lash out because, man, that got me messed up, right? Anger can do a lot to you, but let's not use it in a negative sense. Let's use it in a positive sense. When harnessing anger, it can become a force for positive change as well. Look at the life of Gandhi. He channeled his anger of injustice into a nonviolent movement for India's independence. Think of someone now we see all the time, Charleston White. He uses his anger of injustice in his community and of young people that he sees needs a light and a platform, and pushes that further to hopefully transcend and bring light to those people. Both these stories teach us about anger, but when they are transformed into a purposeful action, they have the power to bring on a huge societal change. A quote by Gandhi: "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong." So let's talk about setbacks. We've all been through it. We've all felt that there was something that just it was supposed to work out and it never did. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a job. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to stay here for a year. I'm going to do everything I can do. And it doesn't work out. I know me, a setback that I had was thinking I was on top of the world, working in this big job in Chicago, all for a setback like COVID-19 to decimate the world and bring me back. Having to go live with my parents again as a grown man, that was a setback. Having to understand living life again after being out on your own, after doing all the things that you wanted to do. But in that time, I used the fear of what's next and my anger of how the world treated me to transform my setback and to fuel me further. During that time, I ended up going to college. I went back to college and I ended up getting my bachelor's degree. And in that time, it was so, oh man, I'm here, but can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. But I had to go through it and I had to do it. Setbacks are often disguised opportunities for growth. That setback that I had made me grow further, brought me to the man I am today, and fueled this inner passion to not only help others, but to give them a chance to see the light in their lives. So when we talk about light, let's talk about someone who is pivotal in light. Consider the journey of Thomas Edison. He faced numerous of failures before he finally and successfully invented the light bulb, something that gave light to the world. He was able to give his craziness and his passion and push out and to give something great to this world, to change us forever. Edison saw each setback not as a defeat, but as one step closer to success. I always think about the term getting 1% better every day. You know, you can't do it. We only have 24 hours, but if we keep pushing, we keep pushing, we get 1% better today. We get 1% better today. Sooner that math is going to keep mathing and you're going to get better and you're going to keep growing. His resilience and determination paved the way for groundbreaking innovations that changed all of our lives. Because I'll be honest with you, don't think I'm gonna be sitting up in this house with just with candles everywhere, not being scared I'm gonna burn this house down. I'll just be honest. And if that's the case, we need to pay these firemen more. But that's another story. But let me leave you with a quote from Thomas. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. Let me read that back again. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. You have to get up. You have to transform. Do it one more time. So let's talk about how we do this. Let's talk about some tools to overcoming this fear, right? We all want the tea. We all want the tools. Equipping ourselves with tools to face fear is crucial. Take an example of someone who I personally look up to and is one of my mother's favorite, she's not an artist, but favorite athletes to today, Serena Williams, a tennis legend, a beautiful Black woman, and a pioneer, not only in sports, but in culture. She battled the fear of failure. Through mental resilience and dedication, her and her sister were able to push into uncharted waters and become pioneers in tennis. Serena overcame self-doubt to become one of the greatest athletes, actually, of all time. Tools like this, like visualizing, positive self-talk, self-help, taking books, reading, getting the good self and positive, consuming good things, That's how she empowered herself to conquer her fears. And that's how you will have to empower yourself to become the best version of yourself. You can't be scared to push to the next level. If you want to get to the next level, you have to be willing to not only do what others aren't willing to do, but also be willing to change. Because a lot of times what you did before might have worked, but it's not going to work for your better self, for your next self, right? So let's leave you with another quote from Serena. I really think a champion is defined not by their wins, but how they can recover when they fall. It's all about getting up. How do I get up and go again? How do I brush that skin knee off, put some it's not ibuprofen. Well, take some ibuprofen, put some Neosporin on it, and get out there and keep kicking, or and get out there and keep skating. Or how do I get punched in the face by no's, by I can't do this, by you're not good enough, by I don't want your product, but get out there and keep selling. That's what it takes. That's the determination that you need to really go where you want to go. So, how can you harness this anger and this fear and make it a catalyst? Anger, when channeled wisely, becomes a catalyst for change. It sparks rebellion and action to those who experience it. When we look back in life, all these people who rebelled or took action and were told they were different or crazy, those are the people who changed our lives forever. So if you've been told that, that's okay, because the person that can't go where you're going can't see the vision. So they won't be able to really help you push forward in what you're doing. So if you see the vision, become tunnel vision. Push forward to that. Do everything that's only in your 5% to get to that vision. Stay in your lane. Keep going forward and know that you will get through this storm. Let's talk about someone who I think is extremely pivotal in the Black community. Let's look at the life of Malcolm X. He transformed his anger at racial injustice into a lifelong pursuit for civil rights. For me, and for a lot of other people here that is watching this video. His passion for justice and equality inspired a movement that transcended through generations and forever cemented his name in history, not only as an activist, but as someone who we look up to, and we understand that they tried to pave the way for what's to come. They were a catalyst for what's to come. They used their anger and their fear of their situation to fuel them to become the best person they can be, not only for themselves, but for also everybody, because they knew that their gift to this world was to start something. So I challenge you to look at yourself. What is your gift to this world? And how can you use your anger or your fear to be a catalyst to give that gift to this world and to also help transcend for generations to come? Help put a legacy on this earth that you did what you were supposed to do. Malcolm X's story teaches us that anger, when fueled by a noble cause, can drive meaningful societal and political transformations. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today, by Malcolm X. And that hits even harder right now as we're coming into the end of quarter four, Christmas season. Prepare for your future. If you prepare now, you'll be way ahead of all the people who are just thinking about what they're doing later on. This world's about competition. You have to be able to show your light and show why people want to be with you, or people want you, or people want to work with you, or why people want to buy from you. So in conclusion, we've explored the dance with fear, the alchemy of anger, the transformative nature of setbacks. Let these diverse stories be a source of inspiration as we embrace our fears and channel our emotions towards our extraordinary potential, our God given potential. Fear and anger are not barriers, they are the raw material for our greatest achievements. And sometimes missed opportunities are exactly what you needed in the end. The greatest fear in the world is of the opinions of others. And the moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep, you become a lion. A great roar arises in your heart, the roar of freedom by Osho. So before I let you guys go today or tonight, wherever you are in this world, again, we are global. Remember some wisdom from another activist that we know called Maya Angelou. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Embrace your fears, harness your anger, and step into the limitless potential that awaits. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. Let's rise above and unleash our extraordinary selves and give our God-given gifts to the world. And remember, you internally possess the power to do whatever you want in this life, but how will you use that power? Thank you. I'm Jalen. This is Transcending.
Welcome back, Psych2Goers. Before we start, we just want to thank you all for the support. Psych2Go's mission is to make psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone. Now, let's begin. We all have inner demons, whether it's problems with addiction, a traumatic experience, a fear of failure, or low self-esteem. We all deal with things that eat us from the inside out. But inner demons aren't vague forces of evil that cause you to do bad things. Rather, they're things you've been through that you have to sort out, process, and heal from. To face your demons means confronting your fears to become a better, stronger, and wiser person. Here are 6 signs you're battling with your inner demons. 1, you feel like a dark cloud is looming over your head. Do you feel like every day is a mountain that you have to climb? Do you feel a sense of impending doom follows you around? If any of this sounds familiar, there is a possibility that your inner demon and depression are one and the same. Depression is a serious mental health disorder and can cause great strife in your life. Symptoms of depression include significant weight loss, weight gain, oversleeping, or the inability to sleep, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, and loss of interest in your regular activities. 2, you always feel like something just isn't right. Are you constantly distracted with the feeling that something just isn't right? Do you always feel like something bad is about to happen? The second type of inner demon can also be called anxiety. Anxiety is another mental health problem, and it affects about 18% of the US population each year. Similar to depression, anxiety can have serious negative effects on your quality of life. Anxiety can cause symptoms like nervousness and restlessness, rapid heart rate, hyperventilation, and feelings of danger, panic, or dread. 3, there's a nagging sense of shame behind all that you do. Do you often feel self-conscious or embarrassed? Are you struggling with feelings of self-hate? Shame is a fickle inner demon that can come from different places. Maybe you've done something wrong in your past and it's still sitting in your subconscious waiting to be rectified. Maybe you've been made to feel ashamed of who you are. You might struggle with voices in your head telling you that you aren't good enough or no one cares about what you have to say. 4, you're so afraid to fail that you don't even try. Have you ever been so afraid of failing at something that you decide not to even try? Does this fear of failure prevent you from moving forward in life? While the notion of failure is scary, it becomes more of an inner demon when the sense of fear seeps into every part of your life and cripples you. It can feel like your feet are stuck to the ground and you can't move, like you're frozen in place by fear. Number 5, you feel like you have a bully inside your head. Do you ever call yourself stupid for making a mistake? Do you curse at your reflection in the mirror for not being attractive enough? This is called self-criticism, and it's like having your very own personal bully living inside your head. Whenever you try something new, the bully taunts at you. When you think about taking a risk, the bully tells you that you'll probably fail. When it comes to relationships, the bully is quick to point out your flaws and weaknesses, and all the reasons no one could ever really love you. But just because this particular inner demon is loud doesn't mean that it's right. And number 6, you feel painful emotions that others don't immediately understand. Do you find it hard to relate to your friends when you're going through something difficult? They might not see the pain that you're in, or struggle to understand when you do tell them what you're feeling. The toxicity that lies within us is personal and subjective, and it's okay if those around you don't get what you're going through. If one person doesn't get it, there's a whole world of other people who have probably experienced what you're experiencing. The internet can be a great way to find connection and understanding and acceptance. You're not alone in this. We hope this video helped you recognize and understand your inner demons a little bit better. Acknowledging that there's an issue is a phenomenal first step, and being brave enough to talk about it is a great second one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and share it with someone who might find it helpful too. The studies and references used are listed in the description below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more Psych2Go videos, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Okay, listen up. Listen up. Again, that fear, that is real. Okay, those 6 signs you're battling with your inner demons, take that to heart if any of that resonated with you, or if you know somebody who was going through that. Send them that video. It's in the comments. Antonio graciously put it in the comments for us so that we can hold on to that, grab onto that, watch that again. And Jalen, you're right. That is very touching. So get the help that you need. I'm not just telling you just to tell you. I know it from experience. Okay. So I told y'all we had some powerhouses in the building, okay? Jalen started us off, okay? Power pack, okay? Punching, boom, okay? You gonna get this. Want to thank Jalen for that for that amazing, amazing keynote. Oh, and listen, we started off high, as always, and we just gonna keep going higher and higher. All right. So I'm gonna bring this next gentleman up, this next powerhouse up, and get out of the way. Okay. Brother Henry, aka CEO Brother Henry, is the co-founder of Kicker's Entrepreneurial Academy, which is the only private K through 12 school in the country where every student who attends is mandated to start a small business that generates revenue, and every student ages 3 and up is required to publish a minimum of 1 book per year. Listen, that I know you like them already, okay? Additionally, Brother Henry is a professional speaker, author, and 6-figure mindset coach for entrepreneurs. He's helped a multitude of youth become published authors and has been featured on podcasts all across the country. His passion lies in helping entrepreneurs find their own greatness within and excel in life to live their dreams. Brother Henry has also been married 17 years to Sister Keshonda. They have 2 daughters, ages 14, and teaches entrepreneurship at Kicker's Academy. Here is Brother Henry McDavid with Transcending Fear and Anger. Brother Henry, you got it. You're muted, sir.
Am I good now? I could be good now. Okay. Thank you, Grace, for that amazing introduction. Such an honor to be here. I'm actually at the school right now, snuck in one of my tutor's rooms, and I'm just over excited to be here this morning. So I gotta make sure that in a little bit of time that we have, I won't be long, but I definitely want to be strong. I want to give us something of value that we can take, that we can use. So at the beginning of this, let me tell you a story. I don't know if you've ever heard this story before, but I'm going to give you the answer up front, and then we're going to get right into the slide presentation. All right. So there's something, and you can look this up. It's called the philosophy of the Chinese farmer. There's a Chinese farmer. He has a farm, and he had a horse. And the Chinese farmer, his horse that he had on his farm, it escaped one day. And when it escaped, his neighbors came to him and they said, "Oh man, your horse, it escaped and it left." They said, "Isn't that bad?" And the Chinese farmer, he said, "It's not good. It's not bad. It just is." Well, the next day, the horse that escaped, it came back to his farm. And when it came back, it brought 6 more wild horses with it. So now the farmer went from 1 horse to having 7 horses. And when his neighbors saw the abundance that he got, the neighbors came to him and they said, "Oh man, you got now your horse, you have 7 horses in total now. Isn't that good?" And the Chinese farmer, he said, "It's not good. It's not bad. It just is." So then his son, he had a son who was of fighting age. His son was over 18. He was over fighting age. And his son went out and tried to ride one of the wild horses. Well, when his son mounted one of the wild horses, the horse bucked really high and knocked his son down, and his son broke his leg. And when the neighbors saw that his son broke his leg, the neighbors came to him and said, "We heard what happened to your son. Isn't that bad?" And the Chinese farmer, he said, "It's not good. It's not bad. It just is." Well, the next day, the Chinese farmer got a knock on his door, and the military was going around drafting children who were of fighting age to fight in the war. But because his son had a broke leg, they did not want to take his leg. They didn't want to take his son. So when the neighbors heard what happened, they came to the Chinese farmer and they said, "Well, your son, we heard the military came and they were looking and drafting children, but they didn't take your son because he broke his leg. Isn't that good?" And guess what the Chinese farmer said? "It's not good. It's not bad. It just is." Now, I'm sharing that story as we get into our first slide because I want you to understand that anger and fear typically and often are a matter of perception. They're a matter of perception. So I want to share one more story with you because we're talking about fear, we're talking about anger and transcending fear and anger. But I want to share with you, I want to give you the solution up front. Oh no, you can go back. I want to give you the solution up front. And then after I give you this solution, we'll get into this slide presentation. Okay. So here's another story. I like to speak in metaphors because it makes the story easy to understand dealing with fear and anger. All right. There was a husband and wife. They had a house, and the wife comes downstairs one day and she goes into her kitchen and she looks into the backyard. And they have a new neighbor that moved into the house. And the wife, she notices that the neighbor is doing the laundry, but the neighbor, after she washed the clothes, mind you, this isn't like modern. This is like back when they used to hang up clothes on a clothespin. So I want y'all to understand that. So the wife looks out the window. She sees her neighbor's hanging up clothes on a clothespin, but all the sheets that she's hanging up, they're all dirty. So the wife is like, "Isn't that odd?" She doesn't realize that the sheets she's hanging up are dirty still. So the wife just notates it. The next week, the husband, wife come back. The wife looks out the window again. She sees her neighbor doing the laundry again. And she says, "This is 2 weeks in a row now that my neighbor is hanging up her laundry, but she doesn't realize that the sheets that she's hanging up are still dirty." She said, "If I see it happen again," the wife says, "I'm going to go talk to her." So the husband says, "Okay." So the third week comes. Wife comes back, looks out the window, sees her neighbor doing laundry, sees the exact same thing. The wife is really bothering the wife that this lady doesn't know how to do her laundry because she keeps seeing her do dirty laundry. And the wife is like, "You know what? I'm making it my business to go talk to her because I need to let her understand how to properly clean her clothes. She keeps hanging up dirty laundry. Now, in the 4th week, something happened. The husband and the wife come into the kitchen, and the wife gets excited. He starts celebrating. She tells her husband, look, baby, look. She finally got it. She finally understands how to clean her sheets properly. This is the 1st week that she's hanging her sheets up on the clothespin, and they're finally clean. And the husband turns to the wife and he says, oh, baby, she didn't do anything different than what she's always done. He said, the only difference is I cleaned the kitchen window. I want you to think about that for a second. The lens that we see things, our perception, the way we see things, oftentimes affects the results that we get. Why does it affect the results that we get? Because if you see things from a negative perception, you're going to get negative results. And if you see things from a positive perception, you're going to get positive results. So the man who says he can and the man who says he can't, both are typically right. All right. So both are typically right. So we're going to get into this slide presentation because I gave you the answer up front. But we're really going to dive deep and make sure we have some powerful things to share with you. So we're talking about fear and anger. I had this quote because this quote really was the essence of what I want to share with you today. It's from Audre Lorde. The quote says, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. See, being afraid is a natural part of life. Having fear is a natural part of life. If you don't have a healthy fear of things around you, then you cannot prepare for the things that are coming. However, if fear freezes you and stops you from making decisions, that's when we start to run into problems. So the quote, once again, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. Let me tell you something. On my journey as an entrepreneur, I've been in dozens of fearful situations, dozens of situations where I was not sure what the next move was, but I learned something. I just had a situation that happened. It's actually, I guess it just sort of ended, but this situation was happening. But this situation, I handled it so much different than situations prior. And all these other situations that happen, people try to, bankrupt our school. Somebody tried to rob us for like $1.2 million. We had all these crazy things going on. In this situation, though, I got some news that was unpleasant. But rather than have the perception of, oh man, it's all over, I got to give up and start over, I sat back, I thought about the people in my life, and my response to myself was not what are we going to do, it's how are we going to do what we need to do to get the result that we want. And guess what? It worked itself out. So let's jump into this slideshow. I want to talk to you about your greatness, all right? I want to tell you that fear is natural, anger is natural, but I need you to understand something. You, as an individual, are already the prime definition of greatness. Can I prove it to you? Can I prove to you how great you are? Do you know that the odds of you being born are 1 in 400 trillion? 1 in 400 trillion. I need you to, let me put that number in perspective for you. Imagine you're on a track, track and field, you're on a track and you're about to run a race, right? You're out there, Sha'Carri Richardson's out there, all the fastest people in the world are out there. Only in this race, let's see, there's 8 billion people on Earth. Imagine you were in a race, not just against the 8 billion people on Earth, but you were in a race against 50,000 Earths. Then each Earth had 8 billion people on it. That's how magnificent you being here is. That's how astonishing you being here is. Before you even had consciousness, you overcame unsurmountable odds just to be here today. 1 in 400 trillion means that absolutely, positively, you are not here by accident. So anything you go through in life is a gift from God. I don't know if you feel me or not. I don't know if you hear me. Do me a favor. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Anything you go through in life is a gift from God. If it does not kill you, the saying says, it only makes you stronger. Listen, I had this moment where I realized the things that I used to think were negative, they're not bad. They're not necessarily good. They just are. Once I adopted the philosophy of the Chinese farmer into my own personal life, I began to handle anger and fear completely different than I did when I was so emotional because I was looking at these things that I was going through. But it wasn't things I was going through, it was things I was growing through. I began to look at my life and understand that my life, I was receiving blessings. Here, let me share this with you. It's not even in my presentation, but I got to share it before I get to the next slide. I'm an avid reader of Napoleon Hill. I've read pretty much all his books and watched all the Master Key series, everything. Napoleon Hill teaches us, right, in the book Think and Grow Rich, that blessings often come in the form of misfortune. See, I used to get upset. I used to be angry when things came, or I used to have fear and get upset when negative things would happen. But once you recognize, once your perception changes just a little bit, and you recognize that blessings often come in the form of misfortunes, then every misfortune that befalls you, you put a big smile on your face. You get happy and excited because you're like, oh man, the God really loves me. He's taking care of me. He's sending something my way that's going to take me to the next level. I hope you're feeling what I'm telling you. Napoleon Hill said that every misfortune carries with it the seed of how did he say it? A seed of equal or greater blessing and opportunity. All right, just go read Think and Grow Rich. That's one of the main jewels. See, we feel like, why is this happening to me? It's happening for you. Because I promise you, no matter everything that you go through, you can pick out one story from your life and tell that same story over and over and over and over. And there's always going to be somebody out there or some people out there or some group out there that your story will touch them and help them get through. And you can monetize your story and you can be rich in life just by sharing your story, just by overcoming a trial, a struggle, a difficulty, a thing that appeared negative that you turned into a positive. Oh man, you're great. All right. Those are not easy odds to overcome. So let me tell you something about fear and anger. Let me tell you, we rocking with it, but I want to help you to change your perception. All right. So everything in life is difficult until it becomes easy. I hope y'all feeling me here. Everything in life is difficult until it's easy. You remember how it was when you was a child and you started learning your ABCs? It was difficult to learn your ABCs. You had to try to sound these letters out and remember the order. You had a little song, A, B, C, D. You know how it was when you were a child. It was difficult. And then it became easy. And then you had to learn phonics and you had to take sounds and put them together. And, A makes the apple and B is for ball. And you had to, those sounds, it was difficult learning how to read. But once you learned how to read, it became easy. And then once you started reading, then you started realizing, well, there's bigger words and there's compound words and these words that they get bigger and longer and they have different definitions. And you had to learn prefixes and suffixes and you start going through language arts and it's difficult until it becomes easy. Think about this. I ask this to my students all the time. You play video games? I say, yeah. Are you as good the first time you play a video game as you are at the 100th time you play a video game? You're going to be better the 100th time. So everything's difficult until it becomes easy. By the 100th time, you're 100 times better than you were the first time. Everything starts off in life, starts off difficult. Did you know you, in your greatness, being born, that was a difficult process. Being born is difficult. Do you know why babies have a soft spot on their head? It's because the baby, the bone of his cranium is pushed up against the bone of the mother, and you have bone on bone action, and she's trying to push that baby out. His bone is grinding against her bone, and they say that a woman giving birth is the equivalent of experiencing death, and that women go through death to give life. Salute to our queens out there giving life. Women go through death to give life. What are you willing to go through to bring your ideas, to bring your beliefs, to bring your values, to bring your visions to life? Everything is difficult until it's easy. Life is like a giant puzzle. That's why I had the slide up. Life is like a giant puzzle. And if you have a 500-piece puzzle, when you put all those pieces out, you're looking at it, you're like, man, this is going to be difficult. You're looking at all the pieces, right? You start working with the pieces that you can figure out. This is a corner piece. This is a corner piece. You start with the 4 corners, right? And you start working on the outside. And you start, but the real work is on the inside. Message. You start working on the outside, but the real work is on the inside. And the more pieces that you put together in the puzzle, what happens? The more pieces you put together, the more piece comes together. Let me say that one more time. The more pieces of the puzzle called life that you put together, then the more peace in your life is put together. See, overcoming fear and anger, I'm not really here to talk about fear or anger because you get exactly what you focus on. So why would I have you focus on fear and anger if I want you to have the complete opposite? I'm going to have you focus on the complete opposite. The law of attraction says that you get exactly what you focus on. All right. So let me share a story with y'all real quick. All right. So I want to talk to y'all. Every time I tell this story, it's hilarious to me, but it's a true life story. I got to share this story with you. All right. So in my bio, you heard I've been married for 17 years. So I know a little bit of something about commitment. It hasn't been easy. I can't tell you that lie, but I was committed. And when I got married, I said, listen, we got to figure this thing out, but getting divorced ain't an option. That's the same attitude you need to take towards your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, your visions, the things that you want to be in life. All right. So let me share this story with you. There's a slide. There's a slide. Oh, there we go. There we go. In this picture that I put on this slide, you see the land like way in the back. That's because me and my wife are on a man-made island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea in this picture. And I don't know if you know this about me or not, if you've ever heard me speak before, but I can swim a little bit, but I'm not a really great swimmer. I can swim on top of the water and I can swim under the water, but I don't know how to float. So when I get in water, I just got to get in and go. Right? Don't judge me. All right. I'm going to learn one of these days, but I just got to get in and go. So my fear is not of water. I take showers, I take baths, I wash dishes. I don't have a fear of water. I have a fear of drowning. So anyway, me and my wife are on this man-made island. We're in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. We took a yacht out to this island. And when we get out there, there's all these different things to do. You can go get massages upstairs. You can go pet the stingray. One thing that you can do that my wife wanted to do was go kayaking. Oh boy. So my wife says, hey, let's go kayaking. We're in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. And I'm like, go kayaking. And so the people are explaining to us that, I don't know what they're called, those like balls that are in the water that like bounce to kind of tell you, like, I don't even know what those things are out there for, but they tell you something, right? Where the water's shallow, where it's deep. So my wife wants to go kayaking off of this man-made island in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. And my heart is beating through my chest because I mean, it's cool that we got out here. We took a boat out here. We took the yacht. We out here, people kicking it. They having a good time. But I don't know about getting this kayak. I'm like, my heart is beating through my chest. I can feel the fear gripping at me. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do this because I got to be a man for my wife. I can't be no punk, right? And I'm trying to hype myself up. But really, this is the scariest moment in my life. I've never experienced fear to this degree ever in my life. I've been around people when like guns have gone off and bullets were not as scary as the moment when my wife said, let's go kayaking in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, because now I felt like I was in a situation where I had absolutely no control, where my life was on the line and I most certainly was going to perish. That's how I felt. All right. So I go get in the kayak. And as soon as I get in and my wife goes to get in, it almost tips over. So I'm already like frantic. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. She tells me quit being a baby. I'm like, all right. She gets in, we start rowing. And as we're rowing in the kayak, there's this bigger boat that's going by. And I'm the only one rowing, but I don't know how to like turn it by myself. So we're headed straight for this boat. My wife is dying laughing. She's dying laughing. In my mind, I'm like, if we crash into this boat, we're gonna die. I'm panicking, y'all. Like, we're in the Caribbean, so it's hot, but I wasn't sweating because it was hot. I'm like sweating profusely, like, oh my God, we're gonna die. This is it. I'm so scared. My wife is just laughing at me. Y'all, let me tell you, we missed crashing into this boat by like 6 inches. And my wife is laughing the whole time. So then she starts helping me to kayak. She starts helping me to kayak. And we're moving around the man-made island. We're going through. They told us don't go past those little bobble things in the ocean because as it gets deeper out there, there's sharks out there. And in my mind, I saw Jaws, I saw the Meg, I saw these shark movies. I'm like, sharks? Yo, fam, where I'm from, we don't do that. So my wife is like, no, let's go out there. We'll turn around way out there. I am panicking. My wife pulls out her phone. She has service. There's a tower on the thing. She goes live on Facebook. Y'all can go find the video. She goes live on Facebook. I'm sweating. I'm shaking. I'm scared. I'm about to cuss somebody out. I'm going through every emotion in the book. I can feel I'm ready to die. I'm pretty sure on this day, I probably lost a few years off my life. I've never been so scared in my life. I'm making up all these excuses. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. What's happening? Please, let's go back. Let's just go back. Let's go back. My wife is dying laughing. And then my wife does something that's the epitome of what I teach my clients. My wife says, stop for 1 second. She stops kayaking. I stop rowing. She asks me a question. She says, right now, at this very moment, she said, I get it, you're scared, but are you in danger? And I look around and I'm like, well, this could happen, that could happen. She said, no. I'm not asking you what could happen. Right now, at this current moment, are you in danger? And I was like, well, I'm safe. I'm good. I'm in the kayak. I said, I guess I'm not really in real danger. He said, everything that you're experiencing is only happening here in your own head. He said, how can you teach your clients how to overcome fear if you're unwilling to face your fear head on and tackle it? Woo! Talk about wisdom. Man, I sat there for a second. I was like, I look so foolish. Now, I still was scared. Don't get it twisted. Still was scared. But her words helped me get through that moment. And trust me, once we got back on land, I told her, whoop, I overcame it. I did it. Don't you ever ask me to do this again. I'm never going kayaking in no Caribbean Sea again. Put me on a large-scale boat. Don't put me in no kayak. But I had to do it to prove to myself that everything I teach people, see, people always say what they would do if they were in a situation. No, what are you willing to do once you're in a situation? Things are going to look scary, right? There's this Will Smith movie. You may have seen it. It's called After Earth. If you haven't seen it, don't worry about it. It's probably one of the worst movies he ever did. But his son is in it. But I love that movie only for the fact that there's a quote in that movie, and I steal this quote every time. Will Smith said to his son, Jaden, he said, listen, fear is not real. He said, fear is our ideas of things that at the present moment do not exist and they may never exist. He said, fear is near insanity. He said, don't get me wrong, danger is very real, but fear is a choice. And if you can digest what Will Smith said in that movie, that fear is a choice. If you can digest that idea and that concept, then you can overcome anything in life, because we worry about things so much that don't even exist. My brother, friend, mentor, Antonio T. Smith Jr., I called him recently and I told him about the issue I was having that I was in fear of. And guess what he did in a few minutes? He like Jesus in the boat, you know, when the disciples and the storm is going on and he chilling and they worried. He's just like, peace, be still. Sometimes you got to take a step back, reflect on who you are and your greatness. You beat out 400 trillion other cells to get here. You're not here on accident. Nothing that you're going through are you going through to hurt you, to destroy you, to make you weaker. Everything you're going through is to make you better. All right. So let me tell you something. I heard my brother Jalen mention it. The science of alchemy. Alchemy, when it comes to fear, alchemy is the root word in chemistry. And it just means to transmute or transform one thing to another form. So here's the thing about alchemy, though. Like the food you make, we practice alchemy all the time when we eat food, right? So the food that you eat, when you take food, you put it together, you transform it into a new thing. You put the ingredients together, you transform it into a new thing. The science of alchemy says that if you can take the emotions that you're feeling and redirect them, that you can achieve great things. I want to repeat to you, if you can take the emotions that you feel, and two of the strongest emotions that we can feel is anger and fear. Those are two of the strongest emotions that we as human beings experience. If you can take those emotions that you're experiencing and make a choice to transform the energy that you feel in another direction, then you can use that energy to catapult you into greatness. It's pretty simple. We see it every single day. So I'm going to leave you all with some solutions on helping you to change your perception so that you can overcome fear and anger. I'm going to give you guys some solutions. So here's my solutions I came up with. I actually have a list of 10, but I only got time to give you 5. Okay. Number 1, identify your triggers. Once I realized in my personal life the things that make me angry and the things that I was really fearful of, started putting things in check. It's very hard to get me angry. I might not like something that you've done. People have done me wrong. People have said things. People have put me in situations. I've even put myself in situations, but I understood very clearly what my trigger was. And once I understood my trigger, I haven't really been like upset in a long time. To get me upset, you're gonna have to push some buttons that I don't even know are there right now. Because I realize in every situation, relax, stay calm, look at the big picture, look at the outcome of what it is that you're going through, and ask yourself this question. This is something I ask myself all the time. I had a Mercedes Benz 10 years ago. Oh, longer than that. Yeah, about 10 years ago, I got my first Mercedes Benz. Do you care what kind of car I drove 10 years ago? Does it even matter? Right? Like the thing you're going through that's so important right now, how valuable or important will it be 10 years from now? Just ask yourself that question. If the thing you're going through 10 years from now won't matter, it's not as devastating as it appears. You just have to change your perception. Our perception makes us appear like this is the one thing in our life that's going to end it all. And if you're still here watching this video right now, this is not the one thing that's going to end it all because you're still here. It might be the worst thing. You might be going through the situation I went through when I had to go kayaking with my wife in the middle of the ocean. It might be that moment for you. But now that I got through it and I look back at it like, well, it was kayaking in the ocean. Like, I've been in some real life or death situations. That wasn't it. For me, it was the scariest thing I had went through. I had more fear there than any place else. But in the big scheme of things, now when I look back at it, I'm like, yeah. I even might look back at it like, you know what? I might even do it again. Maybe. Oh, don't let my wife hear that though. She gonna we'll be in the Caribbean. We'll be in the islands next week. She's like, I'm gonna call you on what you said. All right. So number 2, reflection and gratitude. Now, these are very powerful tools to overcoming fear and anger. Gratitude. See, every day you should be writing down at least 3 things that you're grateful for every day. I make my students do it every single day. When we come to school, we do our pledge. We pledge to be great to ourselves, which is a lot of affirmations. It's a lot of positive reinforcement. After we tell ourselves how great we are, the next thing that we do is go write down the things we're grateful for. And you can't write down the same things every day. Because if you write down 3 things you're grateful for from today to the next 100 years, you'll never exhaust the greatness of the gifts that God has given. You can never exhaust it. Like we should for me to even talk to you right now, I got to be grateful to StreamYard who made the technology. I got to be grateful to the people that made the laptop that I'm on. I got to be grateful to the electric company that's providing the electricity that's coming through here. I got to be grateful to God for giving me a voice box that allows me to speak properly. Some people, things happen with their voice where they can't even speak properly. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for. I have clothes on my back. I have a hat on my head. I have this board behind me. There's so many things to be grateful for. Don't have time to not be grateful. And fear pushes in on you not being grateful for the things that you already have. You want more, but you're not grateful for the little bit that you have. That's when fear and anger can creep in. No, be grateful for everything that you have. And here is a trick. Be grateful for the things that you don't yet have. Feel the emotion and the power of the things that you desire, but you don't quite have, as though you have them and soon you will have them. All right. And reflection, reflect on all the things that have happened to you in life. Most people don't realize that sharing your story is the easiest way to get rich. Share your story. All right. Reflect on everything that's happened to you in life and share it with other people, and you can monetize that all day long. All right. Number 3, have a support system and have a mentor. I told you I just called Antonio and I said, Antonio, this is what I'm going through. Man, guess what? As a support system, he gave me what I needed to hear at the time to focus up, reflect properly, be grateful of the relationship, and move out. Problem solved. No need to be angry. No need to even be fearful. Be critically, be critical in your thoughts. Try to think through your problems. Fear paralyzes. You don't have time to be paralyzed because you got problems to solve. Life ain't nothing but a set of problems that we have to, problem after problem after problem after problem. That's why you should be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a person who solves problems for profit. You're going to solve problems in life, period. You might as well get paid for it. All right. So have a support system, have mentors, have people that can help guide you through tough storms. Okay. Adjust your perception. You heard the stories I told earlier. The wife was looking out of the kitchen window. She kept judging the lady across the yard, saying she's hanging up dirty laundry. The whole time it was her perception from her dirty kitchen window. Adjust your perception. If you adjust your perception, you'll see things in their proper light. And last but least, exercise and have healthy thoughts. Exercise is great because you physically want to take care of the body, but healthy thoughts is so underrated. It's so underestimated. Most people don't realize that healthy thoughts are the things that help you stay calm, that help you when you reflect. The reason that you practice gratitude, have healthy thoughts. Even if something appears negative, look for the silver lining. Look for where is the blessing that's coming from this? Because we know that that most blessings appear through misfortune, right? And we know that every misfortune that happens to us carries with it a seed of equal or greater opportunity. So, knowing that, having that knowledge, being equipped with those solutions, I don't think we should look at fear and anger the same. All right. Now, am I telling you that you can hear your brother speak to you today? And from today forward, you'll never experience fear, you'll never experience anger. I don't think that high of myself to deliver that type of information to you. But what I can promise you is this: if you take what I've taught today and you apply it to your life, then you can overcome fear and anger on smaller levels, and you'll start to build up your tolerance. The same way that we have immune system, you'll start to build up your tolerance. And the more that you can tolerate, the greater your ability to handle fear and anger becomes. So you get to a certain point, to other people, it appears like you don't even experience those emotions. But really what's happening is your tolerance level is expanding. So I hope that you all have learned something dear today. I hope I've given you something of power and passion and something that's going to help you take the world on. Remember, when fear comes for you, it's going to happen. Fear is going to come. When fear comes for you, become a fighter. Look fear in its eyes, walk up to fear and start the fight. You got to fight with that thing. I'm not telling you it's not going to happen, but I am telling you when it does happen, that you got to have the courage to be the greatest version of yourself, to be the one who fought against 400 trillion other cells to fertilize the egg. And once you remember that you're the one that beat out 400 trillion, everything else is small change to you. What's something small to a giant? Your greatness will get you through. This is your brother, CEO, Brother Henry, Kiefer's Academy co-founder. I'm so honored to be here with you today. I pray that you got something great out of here. Make sure you follow me on all social medias at CEO Brother Henry for more information. Can't wait to see y'all at WonderCon. So excited. That's all I got for y'all today. Peace and blessings, family. Have a wonderful afternoon. I know we got more powerful speakers coming after me. So peace and blessings, family. Have a great afternoon.
It can't find me. Doesn't even know where to look. and it dawned on me. Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity, Qatar. Now, do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story. And that day mine changed.
Someone taken advantage of you or wronged you in some way? Do you get a bubbling feeling in your gut or heat rising in your face? Anger is one of the natural responses to hurt, and depending on how you deal with your emotions, these negative emotions can stay with you for a long time. Prolonged anger can actually be dangerous, since it doesn't only affect your mental health, but can also cause physical symptoms like backaches, migraines, and fatigue. When you're extremely furious at someone who's done you wrong, do you secretly wish bad things upon them and hope that they suffer more than you did? You may even think about revenge. However, when we have thoughts like this, it always backfires. Instead of making the person who made us angry suffer, we're actually tormenting ourselves with these negative thoughts. As the saying goes, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting others to die. This is why it's so important to understand our emotions, like anger, where it comes from, the trigger behind it, and how to cope with it in a healthy manner, instead of repressing it or acting upon it impulsively. So, why do we get angry? Anger is actually linked to fear. For instance, you may be angry at someone who had violated your trust or has taken advantage of you. Anger is the reaction and the fear of getting hurt. It's important to have emotions like fear and anger because they let you know when someone has crossed your boundaries or has hurt you emotionally. It's a signal to help you prevent the situation from happening again in the future. However, when you suppress or deal with it in an unhealthy way, these negative feelings can grow more intense. This is also known as repressed anger. So where does repressed anger come from? Why is it so hard to listen to your emotions such as anger and acknowledge it? Do you subconsciously keep telling yourself that you shouldn't feel this way? Well, repressed anger and poor anger management may be learned in childhood. Your parents have a large impact on you as a child, especially in shaping your values, beliefs, and behaviors. This is especially true in how you learn to deal with your emotions. As a child, you may have expressed your anger through tantrums, which your parents may have dealt with by punishing you. From this, you are taught to associate your negative emotions, such as anger, with being bad and unlovable. Therefore, it conditioned you to ignore or to unhealthily express any bad emotions that you felt. Beliefs such as anger is a bad emotion or nobody likes angry people may continue on to adulthood. This causes you to have unhealthy habits where you don't express your emotions in a healthy manner. As a human being, it's natural for you to desire to be loved and accepted. When you end up developing beliefs that associate being angry with being bad, unlovable, and undesirable, it's not a surprise that you'll start to suppress, avoid, or invalidate these negative emotions. But the truth is, your feelings and emotions are trying to tell you something. Feeling anger is a way for your subconscious to protect yourself from pain and hurt. It's your body's way of telling you how you're really feeling about a certain situation. It's a reflection of your mental state of health. And this is why losing touch with your emotions can be harmful. If you're out of touch with these emotions, you might have a hard time identifying whether someone has crossed your boundaries. This might also be one of the reasons why you always find yourself dealing with people who love taking advantage of you longer than you should. Did you find this video insightful? How do you express your emotions? Tell us about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with others who may find it helpful too. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. All the references used are also added in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yo, okay. Hey, listen, that video right there, that hit home. I had an anger problem. Okay. If you grew up with me, you know I had an anger problem. If you started working with me, you know I had an anger problem. Antonio pointed it out to me. Antonio and a good friend of mine, Shannon, they pointed it out to me. Gear, we didn't know what grace we was gonna get. That's why we didn't hang around you much. Okay, you was angry. Okay, and Antonio was like, hey, if you were friends, you can't be angry all the time. They're gonna avoid you. Okay, so I had to learn. Hey, we gotta let this go. And every time now, when I feel that anger coming up, I have to ask myself what Antonio asks me all the time. Hey, is this really worth being angry? And 10 times out of 10, the answer is no. So I'd be like, girl, chill out. I talk to myself like, girl, chill out. That ain't, come on, let's get past that. It's all right. Let's keep it moving. And it works. Okay. Now, don't think it was a fly by night success. It took some time. Okay. And every once in a while, Yvonne still wants to come out a little bit. Okay. But when I get that feeling right here, that's when I know, chill out. It's not worth it. Let's go. So, if that video resonated with you too, okay, I know I'm not the only one who suffered from anger issues, being addicted to anger, okay. So, if that resonated with you, come on, let's get help for it, so that you can get the life that you desire and deserve. All right, now we started this thing off, okay. I'm telling y'all, I told y'all about these powerhouses, okay. The men have been doing their thing, okay. The men have been doing their thing. We started off with Brother Jalen Hughes, Mr. Jalen Hughes. Listen, started us off. He had a plethora of quotes that were power packed and were hitting home. And then we had Brother Henry McDavid, okay. Brother Henry, I'm gonna tell you right now, you shouldn't have told that story, okay? Because Antonio, he's not gonna let you forget it, okay? He went to go find that video. I am telling you, he went to go find that video that Sister Keyshawn took, okay? Y'all kayaking. But no, seriously. Hey, fear is a choice. That's what he said. And it's all how you look at things. It's all how you look at things. The lady through the window, yeah. Clean your window, okay? Clean your lens, okay? Great job thus far. But now, okay? Now we got a young lady coming up to close us out. Okay, we got a young lady. Credit goes to the men. Y'all brought it through. Y'all brought it the beginning and the middle. We got a young lady to close us out. Okay. So let's get ready. Okay, Deanna Marie, pioneer of the always becoming holistic philosophy, certified herbalist and wellness advocate, with a blend of cognitive behavioral therapy, spirituality, and herbal expertise. Deanna has influenced global holistic health. An entrepreneur with multi-million-dollar ventures, she's also a dedicated writer and mother. Her work emphasizes the power of emotions and thought in shaping reality. Dive deep into Always Becoming with Deanna, guiding your holistic journey. Here she is today with her message, The Internal Superhero, Unveiling the Power Within. Dee Marie, take us on.
In the tapestry of existence, woven with threads of old, a tale unfolds of courage and emotions to be told. Picture a realm where fear and anger find their place. Adaptations forged in time, survival's intricate grace. Evolution's wisdom echo through the ages, superpowers passed down through ancestral pages. Fear, the vigilant sentry, a radar in the mind, a danger detector, a call to be aligned. Risk assessment, a dance with shadows cast in the theater of the brain, memories amassed. Yet in the complexity of this mental game, sometimes it reacts to phantoms, not true flame. Anger, a force, a boundary setting power, a superhero shield in life's challenging hour, a personal space, a bubble drawn with might, assertive action, standing up for what's right. Fight or flight, the heart's swift ballad, a turbo boost in the face of life's fray. Confront or escape, choices to be made in the script of survival where destinies are laid. Adaptive emotions, sidekicks on the scene, tools in the belt in life's complex machine, a puzzle to solve a hero's quest unfolds, understanding the key as the story unfolds. So in the tapestry we weave with threads of gold, fear and anger play parts, both young and old. But wisdom lies in the wielding emotions with grace, turning challenges to victories in life's embrace. The internal superhero, unveiling the power within. In the grand narrative of our existence, we find ourselves armed with a collection of emotional superpowers, shaped by the sands of time and etched into our very being. Evolutionary adaptation, our opening act, is comparable to inheriting a familial, not familiar, but a familial superpower passed down through the ages. Envision fear and anger as the watchful sentinels of our survival, meticulously crafted by our forebears to navigate a world fraught with danger, a cosmic reminder to tread cautiously. See, fear, our innate danger detector, takes center stage in our second exploration, acting as a mental radar, scanning for potential risks. However, in its watchfulness, fear occasionally falters, reacting to shadows as though they were genuine threats. I'm going to repeat that. Fear occasionally falters, reacting to shadows as though they were genuine threats. See, fear is actually here to help us, but when fear occasionally falters, it starts reacting to what's hidden in our shadows as though they were genuine threats. Progressing further, we encounter anger, the superhero force field, defining our personal space and protecting emotional boundaries. See, we've always seen anger as this negative aspect, but anger has become our way of creating our personal space. See, when somebody makes you angry, you put up a force field and it pushes them away. It's like drawing a line in the sand. Anger boldly asserts, I won't allow anyone to mistreat me. Let me repeat that. Anger boldly asserts, I won't allow anyone to mistreat me. Subsequently, the fight or flight response emerges as a burst of energy in the face of adversity, an instinctual readiness to confront challenges head on or make a swift escape to safety. And then finally, what we're going to do is we're going to delve into the adaptive nature of emotional responses, where fear and anger transform into trusty sidekicks, guiding us through life's intricate puzzles. When harnessed with wisdom, these emotions become tools in our superhero utility belt, capable of turning challenges into triumph. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you today the concept that fear and anger are not negative, but can be used as tools when properly harnessed with wisdom. So let us begin. Let us talk about the evolutionary adaptation of fear and anger. See, envision possessing a unique survival skill, a sort of superpower passed down through the generations in your family. epigenetics. See, evolutionary adaptation is akin to this inherited proudness where fear and anger emerge as superheroic emotions that once shielded our ancestors from dangers like wild animals or less than friendly individuals. See, these emotions act as a kind of internal alert system. It's your body's way of signaling, hey, be cautious. See, the fear that Brother Henry talked about earlier, that fear was we can't stand up on this land right here. We in the middle of an ocean and something super small. So his fear was saying, hey, yo, be cautious. This is not our natural habitat. Be cautious. We got flat feet, not fins. Be cautious. And I can relate to that. While I love being on the ocean, the fact of being in a really small boat in a large body of water, no. As much as I love the water, that is not my natural habitat. So my fear is going, my radar going to go off. See, when we think of things in a way of what they were originally, if we look at them as gifts, what you can account for, you can control. See, it started with our ancestors. See, they had to have something go off saying, hey, that sound you just heard, I'm gonna need you to pay attention to that because something's not right. Hey, that tribe, nope. I'm gonna need you to pay attention. They not here to help you. It's if we pay attention to where we came from, where our superpowers originated from, we would understand that with wisdom, we can turn what we consider negative and what we've been told is negative as a tool. You have to use that emotional wisdom to understand, hey, red flag, don't do that. Because when you do that, you now become more aware of the situation around you. You become more mindful of what's going on around you. See, fear is a superpower and not a weakness. And over time, it has evolved. It has grown because things have happened in life. So our fear, instead of it being focused to what's around us to protect us, we have used it to push people away. We have used it to determine relationships. We have used it to hurt others. We've used it to isolate ourselves. We've used it to be frozen in time and not move forward. But if we actually pay attention to what it actually is, it's a cautionary flag telling us, hey, be cautious, but keep moving. So let me tell you what you do when it comes to the evolutionary adaptation of fear. What you do is you reflect on your own strengths and abilities. Acknowledge the unique skills or traits that you believe you have possessed down through your family. Because what it'll also do is it'll also let you know the traumatic history of your family and why your fears come out a certain way. And when you harness the wisdom of your genetic history, you'll be able to harness the wisdom of fear and use it as a tool. From there, consider how these strengths might serve as your personal superpower in navigating challenges. See, when a challenge occurs, And you are not filled with triggers and pain and hurt because you've done the shadow work. You've woven and dug and dipped and shown light on the shadows within yourself, so you have accounted for everything. When you hit a challenge and fear arises, it allows you to navigate that challenge better. Because your fear isn't coming from a genetic place, because you understand some things now. You have a little more wisdom. Your fear is your natural body's response telling you, hey, there's something about this situation that's just not right. Navigate it cautiously. Use your fear as leverage and embrace and leverage that fear consciously in situations where caution and resilience are required. Again, I want to go back to what I'm talking to you about today. I'm talking to you about using fear and anger as tools to keep moving forward and not things to hold you down. Now I want to talk to you about the role of fear when it comes to risk assessment. See, consider fear as your internal danger detector. Y'all, I really need to get some glasses because sometimes I be missing some letters in these words. Let me tell you something. Consider fear as your internal danger detector. It's a built-in radar scanning for potential risk. But if you don't have the understanding and the wisdom of what we just talked about, guess what? Your internal built-in radar is going to scan for potential risks based on your triggers. And we don't want that, because your triggers come from a perception of understanding that's not even yours. It was given to you. So when you learn your genetic coding, your DNA, your history, your ancestry, you can understand, okay, because my ancestors went through this, it's genetically coded in my DNA to fear this. So now that I have this wisdom, my built-in radar, when scanning for potential risks, will be a little clearer because my perception will be different. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is. And when fear kicks in, it's your brain urging you to pay attention because there might be something harmful on the horizon. Men, when you get that red flag, when she walked by you and she built like a brick house and you be like, man, but something in your gut telling you don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Don't do it. Ladies, when he walked by and he's built like an Adonis god, he turns back at you and he smiles that smile. Y'all know what smile I'm talking about. But something in your gut saying, sis, not this time. Don't do it. Don't do it this time. Follow that. Don't do it. And vice versa. Women, when that woman walk by, and you look at and that flag go off, be like, not today, sis. No. And guys, when that guy walk by, you looking at him and you see potential, but that red flag and that gut in your stomach be like, don't do it, bro. Don't do it. Save yourself. When you walk into a business meeting and something in the air just doesn't feel right, and you got this gut wrenching feeling that this is not the person you need to partner with, pay attention to that. Because who you associate yourself in business and in life will determine how you are viewed by the world. And while it's crucial to heed this radar, it's worth nothing that at times it can become overly sensitive, reacting to things that aren't truly threatening. That's why you have to do the work. You have to dig into yourself. You have to work out the childhood trauma, because your radar will be worth nothing if it's overly sensitive because it's responding to your triggers. Work on your subconscious. Work on your self-awareness. Work on your emotional intelligence so that you know for sure when your radar goes off, you know it's not a trigger of something from your history, but it's a trigger letting you know to be cautious of what's to come. Tread lightly. Get in this kayak because your life is not in danger, but tread lightly because you've never done it before. Just be cautious. So what I want you to do is I want you to practice mindfulness when fear arises. When something hits you, take a moment to assess whether the fear is responding to a real and immediate threat, or if it might be an exaggerated response. And y'all know what I'm talking about when I say exaggerated response. Is the fear responding to a real and immediate threat? Or is it an exaggerated response? When you can account for it, you can control it. Journal your experiences with fear. Note the situations and your emotional reactions. And then over time, this awareness can help you distinguish between genuine risks and perceived threats. And it'll allow for a more measured response. How many of you react out of fear because when you were a kid, something happened and you made a meaning out of it, and now anytime it happens, that's your response? It's okay. I'll raise both hands. Only to find out later, you overreacted. It's okay. I'll raise my hand. I'll raise both. I'll even wiggle my fingers for those of y'all who are too afraid to raise your hand. I got you. I got you. When you have emotional intelligence, when you prioritize your emotions and you analyze everything you're going through and you journal it, you get it out of you. Instead of letting it cycle in you, you get it out of you and you analyze it. Fear can become a tool. Anger can become a tool. And not just something that we've been taught to look at on a negative perspective. Now let's move into anger. How many of y'all have anger issues? It's okay, I'll put my hand up first. Right here. Yeah, the little freckle-faced one. I can go from 0 to 100 like that. So let's talk about anger as a boundary setter and not the lashing out at someone. Let's properly discuss anger. See, picture a personal space bubble surrounding you. And anger acts as a superhero force field, fiercely safeguarding it. And when someone crosses a line, making you feel uncomfortable or hurt, anger steps up and declares, hey, that's not acceptable. Anger becomes a tool for setting boundaries, like drawing a line in the sand and asserting, I need my space and I won't allow anyone to mistreat me. That's what anger actually is. But see, properly used with wisdom and intelligence, anger can come off more of you setting boundaries than having adult temper tantrums. See, like the video was saying, you act out because you feel some kind of way. Yeah, that's anger setting a boundary, but instead of doing it in wisdom, you're doing it as a kid because you were not properly taught how to use your anger to set boundaries. So what do we do as kids? When we get angry, we throw stuff. We have a temper tantrum. We lay out on the ground. We scream. We holler. As adults, we punch holes in the walls. We bust out windows. We slice tires. We break dishes. We passively aggressively slam doors and cabinet doors. We passive aggressively wash dishes loudly, knowing we ain't got to be that loud. We walk through the house in total silence, ignoring everybody. We shut ourselves out in a room. Like there's different ways that we use anger as boundary setters. But imagine your fear alert goes off. Hey, fool, caution, caution. And you ignore the caution and you keep going. And something happens and it makes you angry. So instead of cussing somebody out, instead of going off on somebody, instead of laying hands on somebody, instead of giving them a 2-piece with some French fries, a biscuit, and a strawberry drink, Grace will know what I mean by that. A 2-piece, the whole meal. Instead of doing that, you sit back, you're like, you know what? I treaded cautiously because my fear signal was going off. But I was still curious about what was going on moving forward. And this is business. This is personal. This is familial. This is anything you can think about. This is going on an adventure. It doesn't matter if it's a person, a place, or a thing. Your caution signal is going to go off, and then something happens and it makes you angry because you're either hurt or you're uncomfortable or just something isn't right. So you get angry. But instead of doing that, you're like, you know what? I bet this won't happen again. I'm drawing the line right here. This is the boundary I am setting because this I did not like. And now you have learned that when your cautionary signs go off, you're like, okay, I understood. Yeah, won't do that again. I'll draw this line right here. That way this line doesn't get crossed again. And then you analyze the whole situation. And you're like, okay, understood. I understood where I went wrong. See, the story that Brother Henry told about the woman in the window, what I loved about it was if she was minding her own damn business and stopped worrying about what was going on in her neighbor's yard, she would have recognized that her own damn windows was dirty and she needed to clean them. See, her vision was obscured because she was paying attention to somebody else's household and not paying attention to the dirt in her own. So when you get angry, and you sit down and you analyze yourself and not the person, place, or thing that made you angry, you pay attention to you, you focus on you, you worry about yourself, mind your own damn business, then you'll be able to sit back and say, okay, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Well, I'm angry because first off, I should have known better walking my ass into this situation because my gut told me have caution and I didn't pay attention. So I just freely walked into this sinkhole and now my ass is sinking. Oh, why did you walk into the sinkhole? Because I was curious. Well, why was you curious? Because it looked pretty. It was a shiny thing. So what does this tell you? Well, when I see shiny things and my caution goes off, I need to view these shiny things from a distance and be like, okay, that's cute. And just inch my way up instead of just jumping feet in and ending up in a damn pit. Let's reverse that. If I analyze myself and not the situation or the person or the place or the thing, I analyze me, then I can learn my personal faults in this situation. And then I build my own resilience. I build my own emotional intelligence. I walk through triggers, then I can go back and see where it started so that way I can heal moving forward. So see, this is how you use anger as a boundary to set. You identify specific situations where you felt your boundaries were crossed and where you felt uncomfortable. I'm saying this in past tense because a lot of y'all, mind my own business, because I need to go backwards. Because there's some stuff that I ain't dealt with from my childhood that if I take it backwards, I can figure it out then and I can move forward quickly. Because I don't know about y'all, but I realize when I analyze stuff in the present tense, I can analyze that situation. But the stuff keep coming back up, damn it. Because there's something in my shadows, in my childhood that I perceive that I haven't tapped into yet. So I need to tap into that. So you ask the questions. Why? Why am I so angry? Why does this piss me off so much? Why do I feel like choking him or her? Why do I feel like being aggressive and punching holes in my wall? Why do I feel like driving 90 miles down 45 until I just don't feel anything? Like, why do I feel like drinking this pain away? Why do I feel like popping these pills and numbing myself? Why? Y'all caught what I just did right there? Yeah, that happens. And then develop a script or a set of assertive statements that you can use to express your feelings when necessary. I disagree with this because I don't like how this feels. Hey, that's not acceptable to me. I need space to analyze this situation. I will not allow this in my garden. And then practice these responses to empower yourself to communicate your boundaries effectively. Using anger as a tool for self-advocacy and protection. See, if we analyze our anger better, there will be a lot less abuse. There'll be a lot less violence. There'll be a lot less of a lot of things. Now, let's move into the next section. Fight or flight response. I have a very funny story because I'm a flight person, but I'm learning to become a fight person depending on the situation. So I have to analyze these things because I don't like fighting. I don't. It draws so much energy from me and I'm left exhausted at the end of the day, and I don't like that feeling. Because then I end up sleeping majority of the day. And mind you, that's not just fighting somebody else, that's the fight within myself. So I want you to recall moments where fear and anger made your heart race. Your heartbeat be like, ugh. That is your body gearing up. Like activating a turbo boost. Like, you know, you at the starting line in the race car, you hear the engine going, vroom, vroom, vroom. That's that fear and anger. The fight or flight response is your body's preparation for facing a challenge head on, which is fight, or swiftly escaping from it, which is flight. It's like embodying a superhero, deciding whether to confront a problem directly or speed away to safety. Let's talk. Y'all know in the horror movies when somebody hears something and they go investigate it? I'm not that person. Because if I investigate and find something that I don't want to find, I don't need to be there. So why even go look? Why even expose myself to a potential danger? No. We chuck and deuce. Let me hear something in my house at night. I'm locking my door. I'm preparing my best friend. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to go investigate. You won't have to come to me. And then once you got my back against the wall, it's all out fighting. Everything becomes a weapon. I will not go easily into the night. It will not happen. But I'm not going to come to you. No, that is not happening. But it's like embodying a superhero. Like I said, deciding whether to confront a problem directly or speed away safely. So in our old office, it used to be in the hall of I forgot what those halls are called, the communion center of the back of a church, and the entrance to it was in an alley. Well, one day Grace and I was arriving back. We were coming back from doing something. It was late at night, and we were walking. Late at night. It was like one spotlight, maybe, in a dark alley behind a church. In my head, this is all the makings of a horror movie, like all the makings of a horror movie in my head. And Grace was in front of me, like she was like, "Hey, D," and I know that she kind of just paused for a second, and she said, "D, what's that?" And I'm like, "What?" She said, "Is that a person or trash can?" Because in the dark, trash cans look like people. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I'm looking, and I sped up my pace. I grabbed Grace by the arm, and I said, "It looked like a person, but we ain't gonna wait to find out." And we instantly got into the church because I'm a flight person. And in my head, all I see was a horror movie and the headlines reading 2 young black women killed in the alleyway behind the church. We was not about to be those women. See, this is how I think. Let me take you a little further back. Has anybody ever heard of the Renaissance Festival in Texas? I was pregnant. We were there. It was nighttime. And my father's son and his cousin, we were all together because she had never gone and she wanted to go. So I was like, cool, let's go. She paid for tickets. Who wouldn't take no free tickets? Yeah. So we're walking back, and mind you, I'm like, I'm in the waddling stage of my pregnancy, people. The waddling stage. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When you walk like this and you don't even realize you're walking like that. Yeah, the waddling stage. So we're walking. We're trying to get back to the entrance. Well, we come to kind of like a forking road. Down this path, dark. The trees did this. You know how the trees create arches? Yeah, that was going on. No lighting at the end of the tunnel. And then straight ahead, brightly lit, like spotlights everywhere. And I'm like, okay, let's go, y'all. We're going to go this way. These two saying, I want to see what's down this way. I say, you know what? Y'all can be the crazy, stupid people in the horror movie that's going down the pathway and get killed. I'm finna go this way because what we not gonna do, I'm too big to be running at this particular moment in time. Okay? I am waddling, people. Waddling. So as you can tell, I'm genetically coded to flight. Period. I avoid everything. We're not doing this today. But as I grow in consciousness and awareness, I understand there's sometimes you have to have a fight response. This is what happens when you have emotional intelligence. You prioritize your emotions, you understand your genetic coding, and you use your fear and your anger as tools with wisdom. See, if you cultivate self-awareness during moments of heightened emotion, when you feel fear or anger, pause to identify the source of these emotions and evaluate whether a direct confrontation or a strategic withdrawal is the most appropriate response. See, with me and Grace, that was a most appropriate response. Because what if it was somebody else in that alley? Neither one of us needed to be fighting. Even if we screamed for help, how do we know that someone would get to us fast enough? We were in a position where flight was smart. Being at the Renaissance Festival, I was pregnant. I mean, like, due in 2 weeks, waddling pregnant. So flight was the most intelligent response for me because I had a child to protect, regardless of who I was with. That baby was my responsibility because he was still in my body. Pause and identify the source of the emotions. See, when you do that, you can go back and you can say, okay, when I was a kid, this happened. And it made me so scared that I just froze in my steps. So this is why I'm running. But I now understand that I'm older. I should have fought in this moment. And you use your words and you use your anger to create boundaries. Consider how this awareness can help you navigate challenges more effectively, helping you adapt your approach based on the situation and not the trigger. Imagine the relationships that you can save when you adapt your approach based on the situation and not the trigger that the person triggered based on an emotion from previous relationships. Now, let's move to the adaptive nature of the emotional response. See fear and anger as your trusty sidekick emotions. Sidekick emotions, not main emotions, sidekick emotions, aiding you in solving life's puzzles. Imagine facing a tricky problem. And these emotions become like clues guiding you through. So you're walking down this path and instantly your fear goes, hey, caution, don't go that route. Mm-mm. And it can be, I want y'all to hear what I'm about. It can be a well-traveled route. Your emotions are like, too many people went that way. Not enough of them came back. So you veer off and you go down the path less traveled. Now, your fear is still kicking in, like, hey, it's not as bad as telling you, hey, caution, because this is a road less traveled. So just pay more attention to what's going on. See, the other one was a clear path, but fear was triggering a lot louder than it was when you went down the path less taken. And the path less taken still had your fear putting off caution signs, but these caution signs were telling you, hey, it's less traveled, so just pay more attention. Not don't do it, but just pay more attention. See, the road more often traveled, it told you don't do it. But the road less traveled, the fear was more of, hey, it's not traveled often. So it's not documented like the other one is. So just have more caution. Keep your eyes and ears pierced. Make sure you pay attention. Watch every step. But see, the path more traveled, it's more documented. So you actually know what to fear because everybody has said the same thing about that path. But this one, nobody's really traveled it that much. And while the ones who have traveled this path have not come back, it's not that they didn't come back because they failed. They didn't come back because of what they found on the other side. So it's not documented because very few people have traveled down this path. So just have more caution. See, fear and anger as your trusty sidekick emotions, they aid you in solving life's puzzles. See, imagine facing a tricky problem and these emotions become like clues guiding you through when wielded wisely. Fear and anger transform into tools in your superhero utility belt capable of turning challenges into triumphs. Understanding and using these emotions effectively become a valuable skill. It's like mastering the tools of a superhero. So what I want you to do is I want you to engage in regular reflection on your emotional experiences. And when faced with a problem, consciously acknowledge the emotions that arise, especially fear and anger. And then consider how these emotions might offer insight or motivation for constructive action. Develop a habit of channeling these emotions into problem solving, viewing them as valuable tools and not weaknesses in your personal growth and your resilience journey. In a quiet town where Chris lived, the rhythms of everyday life carried on, seemingly unremarkable. Chris, a 20-year-old with a passion for unraveling mysteries, found himself at a crossroads of understanding his own emotions and the ancestral whispers hidden within them. See, one day, as Chris strolled through the town's historic library, the air was thick with the scent of ancient pages. He stumbled upon an old leather-bound book that seemed to beckon, its secrets waiting to be revealed. Intrigued, he flipped through the pages and discovered a tale of evolutionary adaptation, a concept that spoke of superpowers passed down through generations. Enveloped in the narratives of the past, Chris imagined himself as a torch bearer of a legacy. Fear and anger, once perceived as mere emotions, transformed into the superhero guardians of survival in his mind. They were the echoes of ancestors who navigated wild landscapes and faced the unknown. As Chris embraced this revelation, he felt a connection to something greater, a lineage of resilience coursing through his veins. With newfound awareness, Chris ventured into the labyrinth of his emotions, guided by the radar of fear. He understood it as a built-in danger detector, a mechanism urging him to pay heed to potential risk. However, the radar provided to be a double-edged sword, sometimes hypersensitive to perceived threats that weren't inherently harmful. Chris grappled with finding the delicate balance between cautious discernment and unnecessary apprehension. As Chris continued his journey, he encountered the superhero force field of anger, a boundary setter in the realm of personal space. Picture a bubble, he thought, a space he could protect from intrusion. When someone crossed the line and made him uncomfortable, anger stepped forward, asserting its presence. Chris realized that, like drawing a line in the sand, setting boundaries was crucial in preserving his well-being. It was a superhero force, not of aggression, but of self-preservation. In moments of fear and anger, Chris felt his heart quickening, a signal of the body preparing for action, the flight or fight response. He mused like a turbo boost, a surge of energy ready to confront challenges and flee to safety. Chris embraced the idea of being a superhero in his own story, capable of standing up to the adversities and choosing the path of retreat when necessary. See, some of us don't know when to retreat, and we're always fighting. But some of us don't know how to fight because we're always retreating. The story reached its crescendo as Chris grappled with the adaptive nature of emotional responses. His emotions, once seen as mere passengers in the journey of life, emerged as steadfast sidekicks. Like tools in a superhero utility belt, fear and anger became guides, offering clues in the face of life's tricky puzzles. Chris realized that understanding and wielding these emotions wisely could transform challenges into victories. I'll repeat. Chris realized that understanding and wielding these emotions wisely could transform challenges into victories. As the pages of Chris's story turned, he walked away from the library with a newfound sense of self. The quiet town became a canvas, and Chris, the artist, painted his emotions with the wisdom of evolutionary adaptation. He embraced fear and anger not as adversaries, but as companions on his journey, each emotion a brush stroke, shaping the masterpiece of his life. As we reflect on the journey of understanding Understanding evolutionary adaptation, fear, anger, and the adaptive nature of emotional responses, we find ourselves in the shoes of Chris, a 20-year-old navigating intricacies of his own story. Much like Chris, we are inheritors of a unique legacy equipped with internal superpowers honed by generations past. Evolutionary adaptation becomes a tapestry connecting us to the resilience of our ancestors, with fear and anger emerging as the superheroic emotions that once guarded against threats in the wild and challenges from the less than friendly individuals. See, Chris's exploration of fear as an internal radar serves as a reminder that our minds come equipped with danger detectors. While invaluable in navigating skills, we recognize the delicate dance required to differentiate between genuine threats and exaggerated responses. It is in this discernment that our true strength lies. Anger, depicted as a superhero force fill and boundary setter, becomes a tool of self-advocacy and protection. See, like Chris drawing lines in the sand, we are urged to assert our space, proclaiming, I won't allow mistreatment. This superheroic force is not one of aggression, but self-preservation, a vital aspect of our emotional toolkit. See, the fight or flight response, likened to a turbo boost, resonates with Chris's realization that we are the superheroes of our own stories. And if you pay attention, superheroes, they fight when they have to, but they flight when they need to. We hold the power to confront challenges head on or strategically withdraw when necessary. Our responses become a reflection of our agency in shaping the narrative of our lives because we hold the brushes. In the climax of Chris's journey, we witness the transformative nature of emotional responses. Fear and anger, once considered mere passengers, emerge as steadfast sidekicks, guiding us through life's intricate puzzles. See, Chris's realization becomes our own. And understanding that when wielded wisely, these emotions become tools capable of turning challenges into triumphs. As we leave the pages of Chris's story, we are invited to see our own lives as canvases. We too can paint our emotions with the wisdom of evolutionary adaptation, embracing fear and anger, not as adversaries, but as companions on our journey. In this tapestry of existence, each emotion becomes a brush stroke, contributing to the masterpiece of our lives as we navigate the quiet towns and bustling cities of our own stories. May we carry the lessons of Chris with us, knowing that our emotions, when understood and embraced, can indeed turn challenges into victories. And I hope your imaginations will always be a celebration of you. Thank you so much for joining me.
My question is, what are we supposed to do when we are angry, and how to deal with deep-rooted anger?
It depends who is the victim. You please. Suppose you're angry with your mother, you behave one way. You're angry with your friend another way. You're angry with your professor, completely different way. Yes or no? So, who is your victim right now? Accordingly, you should do. But now you are asking this question as if anger is a natural part of you. Are you angry right now? What's your name? Rohini. Are you angry right now? No. Then why are you bothered about anger? Once in a way you get angry. Yes? You get angry. Anger doesn't happen to you. You get angry. You like it? You don't like it. Then why do you do it? See, around us, so many people will do so many things that we don't like. Yes or no? So many things in Mumbai happening, things that we don't like are every day happening. But at least within you, only what you want should happen within this, isn't it? Huh? I cannot decide that only what I want should happen with you, but I can definitely decide only what I want must happen within me, isn't it? If you could decide only what you want should happen within you, would you choose anger or joy? What's your choice? Please choose, I'm going to bless you. See, you want the highest level of pleasantness for yourself, isn't it? Then why is such a thing not happening? As I said earlier, you never read the user's manual. How this functions has not been looked at. Do not go by the example of people who came here a few years earlier than you. That, no, my mother also was like that, my grandmother also was getting angry, so I am also getting angry. They should not be the leading lights of your life. I want you to look at it. Your thought, your emotion, your body must happen the way you want, isn't it? Huh? If somebody else can decide what should happen within you, this is ultimate slavery, isn't it so? What happens around you, maybe we can decide, but nobody should decide except yourself what happens within you. If you decide, you would keep this in the high state of pleasantness for sure. You wouldn't be battling with anger. It's not just about anger, fear, stress, tension, don't address them separately. Essentially, your mind is not taking instructions from you. Why? Because you don't know where the damn keyboard is. Yet, we gave you a supercomputer, you do not know where the keyboard is. So one day you did this, something worked, another day you did this, something worked. You know, have you seen people? The radio doesn't work, boom, and it works sometimes. That's not a technology, that's chance. Have you seen this? If something doesn't work, people think tap, 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 it'll work. And a lot of people are using this for human beings also. Something doesn't work, tap, tap, and it'll work. In Tamil Nadu, there is a saying, "Naalu kudutha ella sariyaidu." That means, if you slap them 4 times, everything will get fixed. Doesn't get fixed like that.
Okay, listen. If you liked today, we have the next 3 to 4 events that are coming up, and I want you to make sure that you are here for those dates. I'm going to give you these dates right now, okay? So be sure to write these down, okay? Next dates, December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, December 27th, December 31st, New Year's Eve. I know. You going out, you may be going out to the New Year's Eve party, bringing in the new year. Before you go, hop on this this WonderCon event, okay? January 4th and January 8th. Okay. We are rocking and rolling. I'm telling you. Why? Because these events are leading up to our WonderCon event, March 2024, March 17th to the 22nd of 2024. And I'm telling you, if you like what you've been hearing thus far at these WonderCon events, you just wait until March, because these same speakers that you've been hearing, They will be at the grand finale in March. They will be at the grand finale in March. So you want to make sure you get your tickets for that. Whether you want to come in person in Houston, Texas, or you want to come and be online virtually. But I promise you, whichever one you decide, you're going to be glad that you're there. You're going to be glad that you attend WonderCon in March. Okay, so again, those dates are December 27th, December 31st, January 4th, and January 8th. Okay, text the word discount to the number you see in the comments, 409-457-6304 to get your tickets to WonderCon. Okay, to WonderCon, the grand finale WonderCon, that one. Okay, all of these the dates that I just gave you, they are free 99, just like the event that we had on today. I want to bring all the speakers up. Mr. Jalen Hughes, okay, started us off the Power Pack punch with all of the great quotes to make us think. Then Brother Henry McDavid came on telling us that fear is just perception and how you look at things. That's how you determine how you're going to get things, your results, okay? And then I'm telling you, Brother Henry, we're not going to forget that story. I'm sorry. We're not going to forget it. But then to close us out was the young lady, Miss Deanna Marie, okay? Just punch after punch after punch. Just giving it to us, giving us all of those nuggets. Just want to thank all these dynamic speakers. Again, these people that you heard and many more speakers will be at our grand finale WonderCon in March. Also, want to thank the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Antonio T. Smith Jr. for putting all this together and not even speaking a word at either one. Okay? Thank you so much, sir, for all that you do. He's doing behind the scenes stuff. He's that producer, director, all that. Yeah, the person you don't see, that's him. Okay? So again, y'all don't want to miss these events, okay? Get your dates. Make sure you write the dates down. Get your tickets to WonderCon. Text the word discount to that number, 409-457-6304. And the party is not done just yet because we've got one more video we want you to see. Everyone have a happy holiday, safe holiday. Peace and love to all of you and your families. You can plan better. You can dominate. Let's go.
Women is a volunteer-run organization, and I know that every single person who is here is giving their time to one organization or another. And the fact that you have 9 million volunteers, and you were talking about the relationship between volunteerism and willingness, and that it's through willingness that you uplift your consciousness, if I'm quoting you correctly, or I'm understanding it. In some ways talking about how it could be a doorway to becoming a bigger person than who you are.
See, before we come to women, first thing is visionary. What a vision means is, see, everybody has desires. Desire is an incremental way of enhancing our life. Today you desire, I must have a home, tomorrow you desire, I must have this money, tomorrow you desire something else. These are incremental ways of arranging and rearranging our lives, which are needed to do a few things. When you say, I'm a visionary, what you're saying is, I have a larger desire, which is not about just incremental improvement of my life. Desire is about me always. Vision is an all-inclusive process. So, this itself is a phenomenal thing. If people, instead of having desires, if they have a vision, vision is always all-inclusive. Desire is personal. Desire leads to incremental changes and improvements. Vision can transform the whole situation. I like music. So, because you said you're a volunteer organization, to be a volunteer means somebody who is doing something willingly, right? There's no other compulsion. There are no financial compulsions, there are no social compulsions, there is no something else. You want to do something willingly. So when you're a willing participant, right now, you're a volunteer. I'm asking all of you, right now, are you compelled to be here or are you here voluntarily? Oh, thank you. Because I've spoken to conscripted people also. I've spoken in the prisons, I've spoken in many places. So you're here willingly. You're doing something willingly is the fundamental of your joy, isn't it so? Hello? However simple or stupid or idiotic activity it is, I'm doing something willingly, makes a world of difference, isn't it so? Hello? Yes. The difference between heaven and hell is just this. You're doing something willingly, that's your heaven. You're doing something unwillingly, that's your hell. We have already taken on attitudes, what we like and what we don't like. I like this person, I don't like this person. Now with this person I will do things willingly, with this person I'll do things unwillingly. This may be two people, two aspects of life, two communities, two nations, two many things. This I will do willingly, this I do unwillingly. This means I've decided in my mind this is good, this is bad. When I hear even on national news channels, good guys and bad guys, it just… once you have this kind of thing, you are going to be disastrous to the planet, it's just a question of time. The moment you decide, this is a good person, this is a bad person, this has gone deep into American society. No, there are no good people and bad people. Everybody is oscillating between the two. If you create a very pleasant, wonderful atmosphere, everybody behaves wonderfully. If you create an unpleasant atmosphere, a whole lot of people act nasty. Yes or no? There are joyful people and miserable people, but there are no good people and bad people.
That's big.
The moment we think we are good, we are entitled to destroy the bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've been destroying a lot of people for a long time. Time to stop that because human beings are in different levels of experience and understanding, variety of people. Anybody who is not like you is obviously bad, isn't it? Isn't it so? Those who are not like me must be bad people. Because the basis of goodness and what you think is goodness is decided by you. No, you have no business to do that. Willing means this, I'm just willing. I'm 100% yes to life. I am not yes to this one, no to this one, no. I am just yes and yes to life. If you are 100% yes to life, you are a volunteer.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You have become a willing life. You have become so willing that you have no will of your own. People ask me, Sadhguru, how do you operate with all these people? All kinds of horrible questions they're asking, they're doing this, they're doing that. I said, my life is not about them, it's about me. It's about how I am. It's about me. It doesn't matter how they are, that's their choice. But how I am is my choice, this is my way. No matter what they do, I'm like this. Because I have not given that freedom to anybody that somebody can freak me, somebody can make me angry, somebody can make me happy, somebody can make me unhappy. These privileges I kept to myself. It's time you do that too. Because if somebody else can decide what can happen within you right now, isn't this the ultimate slavery? Huh? Isn't this? Someone else can decide what should happen within you. What happens around you, of course, so many people decide. What happens around us is not 100% ours. But what happens within me must be my making, isn't it? Right now, just about anybody can freak anybody because they're not volunteers, they're unwilling. Volunteering means you have no will of your own, you can do whatever is needed. You know, we are a volunteer organization, this means all kinds of people. Most of them are not qualified for the jobs that they're doing. And I cannot fire them because they're volunteers. So people keep coming up to me on a daily basis and say, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, she's so horrible, I can't do it. I tell them, see, in this world, this is the sort of people who exist, like this, like this, like this, like this is the kind of people there are. But if you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven. And today.
Today.
But if you think what you're doing is very significant, you must learn to work with all these horrible people. This is how the world is. If you think what you're doing is very significant, you learn to work with all kinds of people. You will see horrible people will do wonderful things. Yes?
Yes, yes.
But if you want to work with ideal people, you won't find any. I haven't found one yet. All kinds of mixed bags.
Yes.
But if you are willing that you are not yes and no, yes to one, no to another, you're simply one big yes, you will find a way.
Thank you so much. That I always say that it's the resistance, if you like.